All right, so today we're diving into some pretty interesting territory.
Okay.
The psychology of confidence and attraction.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be dissecting a piece
Good.
that advises men
Okay.
on behaviors that supposedly attract women.
Interesting.
But don't worry, this isn't just going to be about dating tips.
Right.
We're going way beyond the surface here to kind of uncover the social dynamics at play
Yeah.
and maybe even learn a thing or two about ourselves in the process.
I love that.
You ready to get a little meta with me?
Absolutely. I think it's a really great opportunity to kind of examine
Yeah,
how confidence
Yeah.
manifests in our actions, and that's relevant for everyone,
for sure.
not just those looking for a date.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So this piece kicks things off talking about strong eye contact,
Okay.
claiming that it signals confidence and presence.
Interesting.
They even mention this 3-second rule for holding someone's gaze.
3 seconds.
3 seconds.
Wow.
I know.
That's intense.
It sounds a little intense to me, honestly.
Yeah.
So what's the science behind this?
Yeah.
I mean, is there actually any evidence that eye contact has that much power?
Well, from a nonverbal communication perspective, eye contact is absolutely essential.
Okay.
It's one of the primary ways that we
Right.
connect with others.
Right.
We gauge interest. We can even convey really complex emotions.
Oh, for sure.
Just think about it. Even a fleeting glance can
Yeah.
communicate volumes.
Yeah.
And in terms of attraction, research suggests that prolonged eye contact
Right.
can actually trigger the release of oxytocin,
Oh, wow.
sometimes referred to as the love hormone.
Interesting.
And studies using fMRI technology
Right.
have shown that when people maintain mutual gaze,
Yeah.
areas of the brain associated with reward and social bonding light up.
Wow. Okay, so there's like a real biological response happening.
Powerful stuff.
But I got to push back a little bit
Yeah.
on this 3-second rule.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels a little calculated, don't you think?
It did.
Like you're staring someone down
Yeah.
instead of like genuinely connecting with them.
Right.
So what's your take on that?
Yeah.
Is there a line between confident eye contact and just being creepy?
You're right. Context and intent are everything.
Yeah.
Eye contact needs to be natural and comfortable,
Right.
not forced or
Right.
intimidating.
Yeah.
And so, while a direct gaze can certainly signal confidence,
Okay.
an overly intense stare can come across as aggressive or even predatory.
Yeah, totally.
So it's about finding that sweet spot,
Yeah.
being present,
Yeah.
engaged,
Yeah.
without making the other person feel uncomfortable.
Right.
And it's important to remember
Mhm.
that different cultures have different comfort levels
Oh, yeah, that's true.
with eye contact.
Yeah.
So what's considered polite and engaging in one culture could be seen as rude
Totally.
or disrespectful in another.
Yeah, I think the takeaway here isn't to rigidly follow
Right.
some arbitrary rule,
Exactly.
but to just understand the nuances of eye contact
Nuance.
and using it in a way that feels authentic and appropriate.
Exactly.
So being mindful of the other person's reactions
Yes.
and adjusting accordingly.
Love that.
Speaking of reading social cues,
Yes.
this piece goes on to highlight humor as another key behavior,
Okay.
specifically emphasizing playful teasing
Mm-hmm.
and situational humor over rehearsed jokes.
Okay.
They suggest that taking risks to be funny demonstrates confidence,
Interesting.
but humor can be so subjective. Right?
Absolutely.
What one person finds hilarious, another might find totally offensive.
Right.
So how do we navigate that fine line?
You've hit on a really crucial point.
Yeah.
Humor is definitely a double-edged sword,
Yep.
used effectively.
Right.
It can be incredibly powerful in building connection
Mhm.
and showcasing intelligence
Yeah.
from an evolutionary psychology perspective.
Okay.
Humor has been linked to mate selection.
Interesting.
Studies have shown that both men and women tend to rate a good sense of humor
Yep.
as one of the most desirable traits
Right.
in a potential partner.
Totally.
And there's evidence to suggest that humor can signal cognitive flexibility
Okay.
and creativity,
Interesting.
which are attractive qualities.
Yeah, you can see that.
But of course, humor can also backfire.
Oh, for sure.
A poorly timed or insensitive joke can damage relationships
Right.
and create awkwardness.
Totally.
How do we strike that balance?
Yeah, that's the question.
It all comes down to social intelligence,
Okay.
which is essentially the ability to understand and navigate social situations effectively.
Right.
It involves being perceptive, empathetic,
Right.
and responsive to the emotions and reactions of others.
So being able to like read the room,
Yeah.
basically.
Read the room, pick up on subtle cues,
Right.
and adjust their behavior accordingly.
So it's not just about being funny.
Right.
It's about being socially aware,
Exactly.
which makes me think about like those times when someone tries way too hard
Oh, yeah.
to be funny and it just falls so flat.
It's painful to watch.
No, it's almost painful to watch, right?
Right.
It feels so forced and inauthentic.
Absolutely. And that's a great example of how confidence isn't about putting on an act
Yeah.
or trying to be someone you're not.
Right.
It's about being comfortable in your own skin, embracing your unique sense of humor, and yes, even being willing to bomb a joke occasionally.
Oh, yeah.
The willingness to take that risk, to put yourself out there without the guarantee of success, actually demonstrates a certain level of confidence and self-acceptance.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
It's not about being like the life of the party or having a perfect batting average with your jokes.
Exactly.
It's about being genuine
Yes.
and allowing yourself to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Even if it means like not always getting a laugh.
Yes.
So we've covered eye contact. We've covered humor.
Yes.
What's next on this confidence playbook?
Well, this is where things get a little unexpected. The source's next suggestion is saying no.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
I would have thought that like being agreeable and accommodating would be seen as more attractive.
Right.
Tell me more about this. Why is saying no so powerful?
It might seem counterintuitive, but the source makes a compelling point.
Okay.
Constantly saying yes
Yeah.
can actually signal insecurity,
Oh.
a need to please others at the expense of your own needs and desires.
Okay.
It can create the impression that you lack self-respect,
Right.
or that you're afraid to assert yourself.
Okay.
Think about the classic nice guy stereotype. Someone who's always agreeable, always willing to go with the flow,
Yeah.
even if it means sacrificing their own happiness.
Right.
While being kind and considerate are admirable qualities.
For sure.
There's a fine line between being genuinely nice and being a pushover.
Right. So it's not about being a jerk or intentionally disagreeable.
Right.
It's about having the confidence to like express your preferences
Yes, exactly.
and set healthy boundaries.
Yes.
But how do we do that gracefully?
Yeah.
I mean, no one wants to come across as like rude or confrontational.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance.
Right.
The source gives the example of rejecting a restaurant choice.
Okay.
Instead of just saying, no, I don't like that place.
Right.
You could say something like,
Okay.
I'm not really in the mood for Italian tonight.
Right.
How about we try that new Thai place everyone's been raving about?
Okay. So
You're acknowledging the other person's suggestion
right.
while also firmly expressing your own preference.
Right. And offering an alternative.
Yeah.
So you're not like
Exactly.
shutting down the conversation.
You're keeping it open.
Yeah.
And there's a whole field of study dedicated to this
Really?
called assertiveness training,
Oh, wow.
which teaches people effective communication skills and techniques
Okay.
for setting boundaries in a respectful way.
That makes a lot of sense. It's about finding that sweet spot between being assertive and being considerate.
Yes.
And, you know, this piece makes a really interesting point about how this relates to like strength of character.
Oh, okay.
They say, if you can't stand up for yourself
Okay.
in small decisions,
Yeah.
how can she trust you to stand up for her when it matters?
That's powerful.
That's pretty powerful, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It suggests that being able to say no isn't just about personal preference.
Right.
It's about demonstrating integrity
Yes.
and the ability to protect what's important to you.
Absolutely.
So it's about having a backbone,
Yeah.
showing that you have principles and values that you're not willing to compromise.
Yes, and that's incredibly attractive.
I can see that.
Not just in romantic relationships, but in all areas of life.
Right?
Think about it.
Yeah.
Would you rather have a friend or colleague who's a yes man,
Right.
always agreeing just to keep the peace,
Right.
or someone who's willing to speak their mind even if it means disagreeing with you?
Totally honesty and authenticity
Yes.
are the cornerstones of like
Totally.
trust and respect.
Absolutely.
And this really highlights something we've been talking about kind of throughout this whole thing.
Deep dive.
This deep dive,
Yeah.
which is like the importance of authenticity.
Yes.
True confidence isn't about trying to fit into a mold
Right.
or conform to expectations.
Exactly.
It's about embracing your individuality.
Yes.
Expressing your true self.
Love that.
And yeah, sometimes that means saying no.
Absolutely.
So speaking of embracing individuality and taking ownership,
Yes.
the final behavior that this piece emphasizes is taking initiative.
Okay.
They suggest that confident men like step up and lead the interaction,
Right.
be decisive and proactive.
Interesting.
Okay, so this is where I get a little hesitant.
Yeah.
Taking initiative sounds great in theory,
Yeah.
but I worry about coming across as too pushy or aggressive, especially when it comes to things like initiating physical contact,
Yeah.
as this piece suggests.
Yeah.
So how do we balance taking charge with respecting boundaries and reading those social cues?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
It's crucial to remember that taking initiative should never come at the expense of someone else's comfort or consent.
Right.
It's not about dominating the interaction
Right.
or forcing your will on others.
Okay.
It's about being proactive, showing interest,
Yeah.
and making things happen in a way that feels collaborative and respectful.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it this way.
Okay.
Imagine you're on a date
Mm-hmm.
and the other person is constantly deferring to you,
Yeah.
waiting for you to make every decision.
Yeah.
It starts to feel a little passive,
Right.
even uninterested.
Right.
On the other hand, someone who takes the initiative to suggest activities,
Yes.
plan a date,
Mm-hmm.
or even just initiate a conversation shows that they're engaged,
Yes.
enthusiastic, and genuinely interested in connecting with you.
I see what you mean.
Right.
It's about creating a dynamic where both people feel comfortable expressing themselves and contributing to the interaction.
Totally.
It's not about one person dictating the terms,
Right.
but rather about both people actively participating and shaping the experience together.
Yeah, and I like how you emphasize that
Yeah.
taking initiative isn't limited
Right.
to romantic interactions.
Exactly.
It's a valuable skill in all areas of life.
Absolutely. Think about a leader who inspires their team to action,
Yes.
or an entrepreneur who takes the plunge and launches a new business.
Right.
These are all examples of how taking initiative can lead to positive outcomes
Yeah.
and create opportunities.
Totally. It's about having the courage to step up,
Yes.
make decisions,
Yeah,
and take risks, even in the face of uncertainty.
exactly.
And that's a core element of confidence.
Absolutely.
The belief in your ability to navigate challenges
Yeah.
and create the life you want.
Right.
I think this deep dive is really making me realize that confidence isn't just about attracting a partner.
Right.
It's about showing up in the world
yes.
as our best selves
Yes.
in all areas of our lives.
I love that.
It's about having the courage to express ourselves authentically,
yeah.
set healthy boundaries,
Right.
and take risks that align with our values.
And it's about treating ourselves and others with respect.
Yes.
Both in our words and our actions.
This has been incredibly insightful so far.
Yeah, it has.
We've really unpacked the psychology behind these so-called confidence hacks and explored how they can be applied in various
Yeah.
aspects of life.
Aspects of life.
But I'm curious to hear from you, our listener,
Yeah.
what resonates most with you
Yeah.
from what we've discussed so far.
What stands out as particularly relevant or insightful?
What does confidence mean to you?
And how do you cultivate it in your own life? It's fascinating how the source presents these behaviors as confidence hacks, as if there's some kind of shortcut
Right.
to becoming more attractive.
Yeah,
But as we've been discussing, it's not that simple.
totally.
True confidence runs much deeper than surface level tactics.
Exactly. We've been talking about how these behaviors
Yeah.
are really just outward expressions
Right.
of a more fundamental internal state.
Yes,
They're most effective when they come from a place of genuine self-assurance,
absolutely.
not from a desire to manipulate or control others.
Right, and this makes me think about the difference between external validation and internal validation. So often we seek approval and affirmation from outside sources, whether it's our appearance, our achievements, or the opinions of others.
Yeah, for sure.
But relying solely on external validation can be a precarious foundation for confidence.
Okay.
It's constantly shifting,
Right.
dependent on factors outside our control.
It's like chasing a moving target.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
True confidence comes from within,
Yes.
from a deep sense of self-worth
Absolutely.
and belief in our own abilities.
It's about recognizing our own value independent of what others think or say.
I love that. This makes me think about the pressure we often feel to conform to certain societal expectations,
Oh, yeah.
especially when it comes to traditional ideas about masculinity or femininity.
Sure.
It can be easy to get caught up in trying to fit into a mold
Yeah.
that may not truly align with who we are.
That's such an important point.
Yeah.
building genuine confidence often requires us to challenge those limiting beliefs and expectations.
Right.
It's about having the courage to embrace our unique qualities,
Yeah.
even if they don't fit neatly into predefined categories.
And that can be a really challenging process.
Absolutely.
It takes a lot of self-awareness,
Yeah.
self-compassion to unlearn those ingrained messages
For sure.
and step into our authentic selves.
You're absolutely right. It's a journey, not a destination. And it's a journey that requires us to be patient with ourselves, to acknowledge our imperfections,
Right.
and to celebrate our progress along the way.
It strikes me that confidence isn't a fixed state.
Yeah,
It's something that ebbs and flows.
right.
We all have days when we feel more self-assured than others.
Totally.
And that's perfectly normal.
I completely agree. What matters most is how we respond to those moments of self-doubt or insecurity.
Okay.
Do we let them define us, or do we use them as opportunities for growth and learning?
That's a good question.
Can we recognize that these fluctuations are part of the human experience?
Right.
And that our worthiness isn't dependent on feeling confident all the time?
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm left with a sense of both inspiration and a call to action.
Yeah.
It's inspiring to think about the transformative power of confidence
Absolutely.
and how it can ripple out into every area of our lives.
Right.
But it's also a challenge to put these principles into practice,
It is.
to show up authentically,
Yeah.
to set boundaries, to take risks, to quiet that inner critic and embrace our true selves,
For sure.
even with all our imperfections.
Beautifully said. And remember, confidence is not about achieving some unattainable ideal.
Right.
It's about progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
It's about those small daily choices to step into our power, to express our truth, and to live in alignment with our values.
So to our listener,
Yes.
we leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
What does confidence mean to you?
What are the areas in your life where you want to cultivate more of it? What steps can you take today to step into your power and embrace your authentic self? The journey starts now.
And you know what's so fascinating about these behaviors is they're all connected.
Yeah.
They reinforce each other and create a positive feedback loop.
Totally.
When you're confident enough to make eye contact,
Right.
you're more likely to engage in playful banter
Yeah.
and express your true feelings.
Right.
When you set clear boundaries, you attract people who respect you and your values.
And when you take initiative, you open yourself up to new experiences and opportunities.
Yeah, I love that perspective.
Yeah.
It's like all these behaviors are pieces of a puzzle
Right?
that fit together to create a whole confident individual.
Exactly.
And it's not about being perfect or having all the answers.
Yeah.
It's about embracing the journey of self-discovery,
Right.
learning from our experiences, and continually striving to become the best versions of ourselves.
Absolutely. And that's a message that resonates with everyone,
Yeah,
regardless of their gender or relationship status.
totally.
We all have the potential to cultivate confidence and use it to create positive change in our lives and the world around us.
Well, this has been such a thought-provoking conversation.
It has.
Really appreciate your insights on all of this.
It's been a pleasure.
I think we've really gone beyond just the surface level advice here
Yeah, for sure.
and delved into some really deep and meaningful concepts
Absolutely.
about confidence, authenticity, and personal growth.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember
Right.
that confidence is an ongoing journey.
Totally.
It's not a destination. It's something we cultivate and nurture over time.
Right, and it's going to look different for everyone.
Absolutely.
So if you're listening
Yeah.
and you're feeling inspired to embrace your own confidence,
Yes.
we encourage you to take what you've learned today
Yeah.
and apply it to your own life. Experiment with these behaviors.
Yeah.
See what feels authentic to you,
Right.
and most importantly, be patient with yourself.
Yeah. Self-compassion is key.
Confidence is a journey,
It is.
and every step you take,
Every step.
no matter how small,
Yeah.
is a step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time.
See you then.